Mama's got some treats for you. Oh, here, kitty, kitty. You can't find this taste in the zoo. Oh, here, kitty, kitty. Oh, Mama cares, she sure loves you. Oh, here, kitty, kitty. Oh, Mama made this food.
If you think for 1 minute I was nuts before, I'm the most dangerous exotic animal owner on this planet right now.
Hi guys, welcome back. Today we have a wild one, quite literally because there's tigers involved and they're kinda wild, you know? So I was just cruising the internet, like I always do, looking for topics, and I stumbled upon this really interesting story that just happened. And it's probably gonna be my favorite story of the year so far because it's so great. It involves cowboys, some bopping country music, we got some cute animals, and an attempted murder. There's something for everyone. It's such a fun adventure. I'm excited. We're just gonna jump into it because I talk too much, so I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, follow my Twitter, sign up for my newsletter. I don't have a newsletter. I lied, alright? Don't ground me, Mom. I'm sorry. So this is Joe Exotic. No, that's not his real name. It's his stage name, but I like it, so that's what we're gonna call him. Joe runs a channel on YouTube called Joe Exotic TV, which mainly focuses on showing off all the animals in the zoo that he owned / worked at.
Boy, there's my boy. There's my boy.
Joe's zoo had over 1,000 animals, and by watching his videos, he seemed to be a true protector and caregiver of them. He seems like a guy that's really passionate towards his animals. He's even said he carries a weapon not to use on his animals if they attack, but to protect the animals from crazy people trying to hurt them.
I carry a gun to protect our animals against the outside sources. The animal rights people are so crazy nowadays that they actually crawl into the park in the middle of the night, they poison the animals, they shoot the animals, they cut the cages open to let them out because they believe they're better off dead than any cage. So 5 of us are armed at this facility at all times. With all that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if something was to go wrong inside that cage, please shoot me first.
From a first glance, he seems like a really chill guy who cares a lot about his animals. That's the vibe I was getting. Also, this really isn't on topic, but he has a video of a chimpanzee wrestling with a tiger and a wolf, and it is the most adorable thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Something bigger than he is, he'll be a little hyper at first, he'll be a little worried about it, but as soon as he knows it's okay, he'll play with a bigger dog or...
I think that just cured my depression. Also on Joe's channel, he makes country music. Now, I'm not a big fan of country music. You know, how many songs about exes, alcohol, and trucks do we really need now? One's enough. But I think his music sounds pretty good.
Ain't no candle, I'm a red hot flame. I'm a pretty woman lover, I'm an ugly woman's dream. Baby, you're lucky, have a man like me. I'm a pretty woman lover, I'm an ugly woman.
The video needs a little work, not gonna lie. What is that green screen? Oh my god. So Joe and his zoo became pretty well known all over. His videos and his channel was doing pretty good, and his park had some very well known people visit it. One of these people being Shaq.
This is Shaq, here with my main man Joe, and Joe just gave me this tiger for a present.
I got a bigger one in the front yard if you want to play with it.
Everything was looking good for Joe and his park. He had a film made on him and his life. They were trying to get a TV show going. From an outside perspective, life was pretty good for Joe. So how did this nice, wholesome man with a channel about animals and country music turn into a feud between animal lovers that ended with charges on murder for hire? Before we get into more of the crazy stuff, I wanted to show a bit more of Joe Exotic because he truly is a character. He's something else. Back in 2016, Joe ran for president of the United States, and his campaign video is great. I have no words, so just watch it.
First thing is, I am not cutting my hair. I'm not changing the way I dress. I refuse to wear a suit. I am gay. I've had 2 boyfriends most of my life. I currently got legally married, thank God. It's finally legal in America. I've had some kinky sex. I have tried drugs through the younger years of my life. I am broke as shit. I have a judgment against me from some bitch down there in Florida. But I can tell you, I paid a fine with the USDA, and that is nothing but a civil fine, ladies and gentlemen. That does not mean that I was accused or convicted of any kind of animal cruelty thing.
He's already got my vote, I'm not gonna lie. He knows nothing about politics, but at least he's being 100% honest. That's more than we can say about a lot of people right now. So when I first saw his campaign, I thought he was just trolling because he says, "I'm currently married to 2 guys." Well, just a few minutes prior to this, I saw all his music videos and he's talking about getting all the ladies and all the ladies want him. So I thought that doesn't make sense. And he's just for sure trolling to make some publicity stunt, maybe to get more people to a zoo. You know, that sounds like a good plan. I gotta write that down. But it turns out he's not trolling. He is actually married to 2 guys and he uploaded his entire wedding to his channel. What I've learned from Joe is he's a wild person. I've even found some old videos of him shooting bullets straight at people.
I want to show people how crazy I am. Run!
I don't want to be the
And this is my mother-in-law. Run! Run!
Joe, you're crazy, chill. Now obviously, Joe got trumped in the election and lost, but years later in 2018, Joe rebounded and ran again, but this time he ran for the governor of Oklahoma.
I learned more in 11 months of running for president than I did in 12 years of school. And then after the elections, I was like, I can't keep my mouth shut for 4 more years.
On this run, Joe wasn't messing around, okay? I found campaign signs, stickers, billboards, and even a limo that was promoting his campaign. He spent a good chunk of money, but unfortunately, he lost again, pretty badly. I feel bad for Joe, man. He just wants to get into politics. Now, losing 2 political campaigns is pretty crappy, not gonna lie. But this is just the start of Joe's very unfortunate future that will soon lead him to many, many years in prison. Now this is where the story gets a bit insane. So far what we've seen of Joe, he seems like a good guy who likes animals, and he's a little bit wild, but we love that, so that's fine. But there is actually a lot more shady business going on with Joe than what we've seen. Joe's zoo is called the GW Exotic Animal Park, and while I was looking into it, I found articles upon articles upon articles about animal abuse that has happened in the park. In 2006, PETA went undercover as a worker and recorded a lot of the animal abuse taking place.
You can't, because then the cat to fucking get the medication and fucking kick over.
Really?
That's one of the iffy ends and
His
buts,
face is
but-
falling apart. Sucks. You know how much pain he's got to be in?
Yeah. I do. But
I mean, look at he's got.
I mean, believe me, if I could, I'd put a bullet in his head, end it now, and butcher him and feed him out right now. But I can't.
The employees weren't feeding the animals, they weren't giving them vet care when an animal's injured, and they were mass breeding their animals to sell or for Joe so he could take cute little babies on his traveling show and make money. In 2006, Joe had to pay $25,000 for this mistreatment and he was put on probation to clean up his act. But throughout the years, he remained under the watch of many animal activist groups. One of these groups, and key component to the story, was Big Cat Rescue, founded by Carol Baskin. So over the years, Joe grew a major disdain towards these animal activists because they were inevitably trying to get him shut down. That was their goal, and obviously Joe doesn't want to be shut down, so he started getting angry at these people.
But if you're an animal rights person, try and ruin my reputation or hurt my animals, and you try and come into this facility, this is what you're going to be greeted with.
For some reason though, out of all the activists watching and criticizing his park, Joe made Carol Baskin his prime target in his hatred for these groups. I assume it's because one of Big Cat Rescue's main goals is to end the sale of big cats, and that's what Joe was making a lot of money doing. But for over quite a few years, he made it his mission to destroy Carol and her organization.
Today we're taking a trip down to Tampa, Florida to the lovely Big Cat Rescue. They're in Tampa, Florida, with CEO Carol Baskin. Yep, that lady that profits over $1.5 million sucking on your heartstrings about shit on the internet that ain't even true. Why would you give to a facility to rescue animals to live in luxurious cages? Well, how about that one? That mountain lion's sticking his head through a hole in the fence in order to drink out of an algae-filled water bowl.
He released countless videos trying to expose Carol as a liar who was secretly taking all the donation money for herself. He released a full investigation video looking into every aspect of her life from when she was 15 until now, which at one point he claims she might have killed her rich husband.
In the summer of 1997, Carol Baskin and husband Don's marriage was beginning to fail. Don told his secretary he wanted out. On June 12, 1997, Don Lewis filed for a protection order against Carol, citing that she had thrown him out of the house, threatened to kill him, and had a .357 pistol, as well as taken away his .45 caliber handgun. At about the same time, Carol commented to one of her co-workers she had wished that Don would go back to his ranch in Costa Rica and never return. Coincidentally, just 2 months later, Jack Don Lewis came up missing. His $5 million fortune was left behind. No trace of the man was ever found. It seems Carol Baskin had, in hand, at the time of husband Don vanished, a power of attorney supposedly signed by him a year before, giving complete control of his money and the exotic park in the event of not just his death, but his disappearance.
I'm gonna be honest, Carol, this is a bit fishy. Allegedly, your husband signs a protection order against you, and 2 months later, he is missing, and you have a signed paper saying you get to keep his money. And the paper saying you get his money specifically uses the word disappearance. And on top of that, later, someone allegedly comes forward and says they never saw your husband sign that paper. That's a bit fishy, Carol, I'm not gonna lie. Also, when Big Cat Rescue was on the brink of shutting down because of low funding, Carol conveniently marries another seemingly rich man just a couple weeks before they were out of money.
Which meant there was about 2 weeks between the money running out, the food running out, and the cats were going to begin starving. Then I met Howie on November 1st, 2002, right as those last 2 weeks were closing in on me and the cats. This picture was 2 years later at our wedding. As you can see, he's multi-talented, so I'm going to let him take it from here.
Carol, I'm not making any claims or accusations. This is all allegedly. I'm not trying to get sued. This could all be a coincidence, but if your new husband goes missing, I'm calling the cops. So Joe continues to try to expose Carol, and at one point, he even wrote a song that features a woman who looks exactly like Carol. And in this video, this woman feeds her tigers the remains of her husband she got rid of for his money.
Oh, here, kitty, kitty. Oh, mama's got some treats for you.
Why do people watch TV? This stuff is so much better. I'm telling you guys. The feud goes back and forth for years and years. There's so much stuff to it that we would be here all day if I tried to explain it all. In 2013, Big Cat Rescue won a judgment of $1 million against Joe for copyright infringement because he was using their logo at his shows. A video then surfaced of Joe shooting a doll that looked like Carol while threatening Carol.
That is how sick and tired of this shit I am.
What is going on? This whole situation got pretty insane, but it reached a whole new level when in 2017, Joe tried to find someone to take out Carol permanently. He started reaching out to a few different people and friends to get the deed done. Also, side note, how do normal people find hitmen? I always wondered this. Do they just randomly walk up to strangers and be like, hey, will you kill this guy for me? Like, how do they find him? I've always been confused about that. Can someone let me know? Any hitmans in the comments? Fill me in, all right? Joe kept asking around, but unfortunately for Joe, one of these people he talked to and offered $10,000 to was an undercover cop who recorded the entire conversation. Joe was inevitably arrested and sent to trial for 2 counts of murder for hire, and they also slapped on 17 federal wildlife charges because Joe was accused of killing 5 endangered tigers while they were reportedly perfectly healthy. In a matter of a few years, Joe is gone from a guy running for president to a guy convicted of trying to hire a hitman. What are you doing, Joe? As of this video, Joe has been found guilty for all of these charges, but has not yet been sentenced. He is facing an estimated more than 20 years in prison and most likely will spend the rest of his life there. Joe, if you see this in prison, do prisons have YouTube? You had a zoo that was popular, you had 2 husbands, you were making country music, you had a movie made on you, you had all this stuff going for you, Joe. Why'd you have to go and try to murder someone? I get that they were hurting your business and you wanted them to stop, but I'm sure there was many other solutions to this problem. My final thoughts. Joe seems like a nice guy, but he's actually insane. The chimpanzee is still really cute. Honestly, that's the best part of this video. go watch the chimpanzee. I'll leave a link to it. It's adorable. And I low-key think Carol killed her husband, but I don't want to get sued, so we're just gonna pretend I didn't say that, all right? Hi, Carol. I know you're probably watching this. I've seen you in the comments of other YouTube videos. I'm sorry. It's a bit suspicious, all right? Don't sue me. I know you have a rich husband. Hi, rich husband. Don't sue me. We're gonna be nice. All right, that's gonna be it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. We just hit 200K, and thank you. I love you. Oh, seriously, thank you guys for watching. It means a lot to me. I love you. All right, I'm talking too much again. Bye.